Have you ever wondered why JavaScript allow us to use a variable or call a function before even return them in your code? This behavior is called hoisting in JavaScript, and as a part of today's video, we will understand that in detail. Hello everyone, this is Vishwas and welcome to our YouTube channel, Front End Devs. To understand the hoisting, we will go with very simple example. Consider we have a variable and a function. If we save these changes, we easily guess the output, right? For variable A, we will get value as a 10. And when we call this function, we will get console.log as a function here. And that is expected. But if you try to use this variable or call a function before its initialization, right? You will see the difference. Let's save the changes. When we try to print the A, we will get the undefined, but for function, we will get the expected output. And we know why this is happening, right? If you watched my previous video related to how JavaScript works under the hood, you might guess it. And you are right. This is happening due to the memory creation phase. Even before executing the single line of code, JavaScript creates something called global execution context. And in the memory creation phase, it will create the memory for all the variable and function. And when code execution phase starts, we already have those variables and functions available in the memory, and we can access those even before initialization. And that is nothing but the hoisting. We will understand how this thing works under the hood. But first, let's discuss a couple of examples related to let and const. Let me add the code for let and const, and we will see expected output. For let, we will get value as a 20, and for const, we will get value as a 30. But if I try to use this let variable before its initialization, you will see the difference here. In case of var variable, we are getting undefined, but in case of let and const, we will get the reference error. And the reference error is cannot access variable before its initialization. Does that mean the memory is not created for the let and const variable in the memory creation phase? No, the memory is still created for all the types of variable, whether it is var, let, and const, but they are stored in the different memory space. The var is stored in the global memory space, and we can access that with value as undefined, but let and const are stored in the different memory zone, and we cannot access that memory until we initialize value to them. Now let's understand a couple of more example for variable expression and arrow function. Let me go with arrow function and function expression here, and we will revert this B. Like we will use it once we initialize value to it. If I save the changes, we will get the expected result. We are defining the arrow function here and then calling it. Similar way, we are creating the function expression and then calling it. And you will see the respective console statement here. But if I try to use this arrow or expression even before creating the function, right, you will see the difference. In case of function definition, we are getting the expected result, but when we are using this arrow function or the function expression before even creating it, we will get the error. And the error is simple. The arrow is not a function. Let's understand what we have in this arrow. So for that, I will just use the console.log. And if I try to print it, you will see it is undefined. That means in the memory creation phase, this arrow and this expression are treated as a variable. And in the code execution phase, once actual value get assigned to them, then it will act as a function. Hope you are clear with this initial details. Now let's understand how exactly the memory is created for all these variables and function, and how exactly hoisting work with the help of visual representation. We know that before executing single line of code, JavaScript creates something called execution context. And this execution context is work in two phases. The first phase will be the memory creation phase, where memory will be created for all the variables and functions. And then we have a code execution phase, where code is executed one line at a time. Now let's understand how exactly memory creation phase work. The memory will be created for all the variables and functions, and those are stored as a key value pair in. When memory creation phase starts, first JavaScript come to the line 1 and it will see we have a variable A. So memory will be created for the variable A, and initially it will assign a special value called undefined. Then it will move to the next variable, that is variable B. The variable B is created with let, so memory will be created for the variable B, but initially we don't have any value. Might be it is undefined, but we are not able to access that value. And that let variable is stored in the complete different memory space. Same will happen with the variable C, that is created with the const. So memory will be created for the variable C. Then we have function fun. So memory will be created for function fun, and it will store entire definition as its value. If you watched my previous video, we will understand this concept quickly. After that, we have a arrow function. And as I mentioned, when we are going with arrow function, in the memory creation phase, arrow is considered as a variable. So memory will be created for arrow, and initially it will assign a special value undefined. And then we have a expression. JavaScript treat it as a variable in the memory creation phase. So memory will be created for this variable expression, and initially it will store the value as a undefined. This is all about memory creation phase. The memory is created for all the variables and functions, and now we can access those variables in the code. And that is what hoisting is. We are creating the memory for all the variables and function even before executing the single line of code. Now we have a code execution phase. In the code execution phase, JavaScript execute your code line by line synchronously, and we will also understand how this call stack work. When the code execution phase starts, this entire global execution context is added into the call stack. This global execution context is running inside the call stack now. Now we have line number 1 in the code execution phase. We have a variable with value A as a 10. So in the memory, the value of A is now replaced with 10. Initially, it is undefined. Then we will go to the next line. The value of A will be 10 printed in console. Then JavaScript move to the next line. We have a variable let as a 20. So actual value of the 20 will be stored in the memory. And then it will print the value as a 20. After that, we will move to the next line. We have a variable C with value as a 30. So value 30 will be added here, and C will be printed on the console. After that, we have a function definition. So we don't have anything to execute. So it will move to the next line, and that is function call. We know that when function call happen, the entire new execution context will be created, and that is added into the call stack. In the call stack, we have a global execution context, and one new function execution context is added, that is fun. And now control is inside this function execution. And once this execution is done, this function execution context is removed from the call stack. Now we move to the next line, and JavaScript C, we have a variable arrow. Initially, arrow is undefined, but now it will replace with actual function definition. Then JavaScript will move to the next line, and we have function call here. As soon as the function call happen, a new function execution context is added into the call stack, and it will execute your arrow function. So it will print the message, and once this execution is done, this execution context is removed out of the call stack, and control move to the next line. Here again, we have a function expression, and initially it's having the value as a undefined because it's treated as a variable while creating the memory. Now actual function definition will be replaced here, and then we have a function call. Once this function is called, again a new execution context is added into the call stack, and that is execution context for function expression. Again, JavaScript will run this function and it will execute the console.log. Now we reach to end of the script. So when this function execution is done, the function execution context is popped out of the call stack, and also the global execution context will be popped out because we reach to end of the script. In the memory creation phase, memory is created for all the variables and functions, and in the code execution phase, now that variables are available to use, and that is what hoisting is. Hope you are clear with all these details and visual representation. Now let's move to the browser and we will understand how those things are managed in the browser. In the browser, before even executing the single line of code, I have added the breakpoint. That means the memory creation phase done here, but code is not executed yet. And now we will see how the memory is created for all these variables and functions. So if you look at variable A, it is stored in the global memory space and it's having the value as a undefined. That is expected. Then we have a variable B and C. Those are created with let and const. And as I mentioned, those are stored in the different memory space. We have a variable B and C, and those are present in this script memory space. That means the variable declare in this memory space is not accessible until its initialization. So if you look at the value of B and C, we will see it is unavailable. And here we come to one very important point, and that is a temporal dead zone. When we create the variable with let and const, the time from memory is assigned to those variable until they gets initialized. The time period in which the variable is not accessible is called as temporal dead zone. Then we have a function definition. Somewhere we have a function here and it will store entire definition as its value. And after that we have a arrow function. The arrow function is treated as a variable and it's having the value as a undefined, and same will happen with the function expression. It will store the value as a undefined here. Hope you are clear with how the memory is assigned to those variables and function in different cases. Now we will run this code line by line. Let me go to the next line, and now value of A, it is replaced with 10. Then we have a variable B. The line number 4 is not executed yet and B is still unavailable. But if I go to the next line, B is now having the value as a 20 and we can access this variable. If I go to the next line and go to the console, 20 is printed here. Now we'll move to the next line. We have variable C as a constant. In the script memory space, the value is replaced with a 30. After that, we don't have to do anything with this function definition. So we have a function call here. Let me add one breakpoint. So we'll understand the call stack as well. And if you want to understand the current call stack, you will see call stack tab here, and currently it's having value as a anonymous. Anonymous means we have a global execution context in call stack. Now let me move to the next line and you will see the difference. We are in the function call, right? Initially we have only the global execution context in call stack, but now we have the function execution context here. And if I go to the next line, this function execution is done, and this function execution context will pop out of the call stack. Now we move to the next line. We have variable arrow with value as a undefined. If I move to the next line, the value of the arrow is changed now. If I go to the arrow function, the new execution context is added into the call stack. We are done with the arrow function execution. It is popped out of the call stack, and after that we have a expression here. If you look at the value of the expression, it will still be undefined, right? Let me look for that value. But now if I execute this particular line, the value of the expression is now changed to the actual function definition. And if I go to that function now, in the call stack, a new execution context is added, and that is for function expression. And if I go to the next line, function expression context is removed out of the call stack. And if we complete your script execution, the global execution context will also be removed out of the call stack. And this is how the hoisting actually works. The hosting concept lies in the memory creation phase. So when interviewer asks you what is hoisting, don't just tell like the hoisting means moving the variable and function to top of the script. That will not work, right? You can explain that in the memory creation phase, the memory is created for all the variables and functions. And when code execution phase starts, we already have the variables and functions in the memory. So we can access those. And that is what hoisting is. Hope you are clear with all the detail. What is hoisting, how the variable created with var, let, const works in the hoisting, and also how the function definition, function expression, and arrow function works. And here we also have one important point related to let and const, and that is temporal dead zone. Those are very important interview questions and asked in lots of interview. I think that's all for today's video. Finally, if you are enjoying my content, I request you to like it, share with your friend so that it will reach to more people, and subscribe to my channel so that you will get the latest video notification. Thank you for watching and see you in next one. Till now, thank you. Bye.